week we rolled out our new Studio 5 theme for the month of July, Be Involved. And today we're going to apply that theme to our relationships, posing the question, how can you be an involved and engaged grandparent? So
Julie Hanks is a therapist. She's been on the show before many times. This morning she brought a couple extra people with us, some faces, new faces for us to meet. Julie's mother, Linda Azevedo, is here, and her mother-in-law, Mary Ellen Hanks, is here. Welcome, you guys. It's a big party with everybody.
Yes, thank you. We're so excited. I understand you both have fairly different grandparenting styles, so we're excited to get your perspective from both ends of the family. But first, Julie, from a therapist perspective, you point out that grandparents have a huge influence on their grandchildren.
Definitely, and it's so different than parenting. That grandparenting, they offer a perspective that is so different because they have the life experience behind them. They know what's important and what's not. They offer security, kind of an emotional and physical security. A lot of my clients think, have expressed that, oh, my grandma's house was the safest place on earth for me. And then there's a sense of predictability. Every time we go to grandma, she always bakes this kind of cookie, or we play this game, or we have this family tradition every Christmas. We have snowball fights, or it's just, they offer that.
So fair to say it's a relationship that can't be replaced.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And when my grandma passed away, I felt like I lost the only person who unconditionally loved me. No offense, Mom.
I totally get it.
But I think grandparents, their ego isn't as invested in their grandchildren as parents are. So they're so valuable.
Great points. We got to get both of you guys' input on this, okay? So, Marilyn, we're going to start with you. You say one of the things is to be interested in your child's life at that moment. How do you do that? What does that mean?
Well, I just try and do, when they have birthdays, when they have graduation, or if they're out playing, I'm there with them. Like the balloon toss.
Oh, yeah. The family reunion.
We had the big family reunion, and all these kids were out throwing balloons, and I don't care if I get wet. So
she's out there with my 2-year-old.
I remember catching and throwing, and then all of a sudden, it dropped, and I didn't catch it. It was all over. But it was so fun because here was this little 2-year-old, and then all the other little ones came along, saying that we were having so much fun. Well, we want to do it too. So it was a great experience, and this is how I try and be with them and do activities.
Sure, and it can be so hard, I think, to be in the moment. You've got so many other things from a parent or even a grandparent's perspective going on in your mind, and it can be really hard, I think, Julie, you're nodding, to focus in.
Yeah, definitely. And I think grandma's, there's the balloon toss picture right there. So cute. I mean, what 79-year-old is out there playing balloon toss with the grandkids? I love it. We're so lucky.
You didn't have to say my age, didn't you?
Well, I think it's a compliment.
Oh, I do too. A very good compliment. Linda, another great point that you bring up is that grandparents can be the link to your grandchildren's heritage.
I think so, and I was thinking back, that's kind of how I felt like my grandparents were to me. It's like they would take me to the cemetery on Decoration Day or Memorial Day, and that's something that I've continued doing with my kids. And I know Julie's kids have written on cards to me, Grandma, I love you because whenever we're with you, we drive around and we see where you used to live, where your mom and dad used to live, where your grandma and grandpa used to live, where, I drive them around town because and I'll take pictures of them in front of the house and Sugar House that, where I grew up, so that they kind of feel like, then they can compare it with pictures with my mother in it and go, oh, we were standing on the same porch. Right. Or they can go and put flowers at the cemetery and see this is where my grandpa was buried, and they even know where I'm going to be buried, so you come and visit me,
There you go.
We're not going to talk about that. That's okay.
That's off the table. I have a similar experience. So my grandmother took me around a cemetery and showed me where, her mother was buried and where her mother's mother was buried, and there was such a connection formed in that moment, and it strengthened our relationship, I think, between granddaughter and grandma. It's such an important link, I think, to cement in children's minds.
Yeah.
And I think that as a parent, I want my kids to know that link. I want them to know that heritage, but I don't really know all the answers, and so we actually rely on parents sometimes to do that, and grandparents.
Parents don't always have the time to do that. Like these are kind of things that just off times we're driving somewhere, and I go, oh, let's run into the, we're on 33rd South, let's run in there, and I'll show you where my great-great-great-grandparents, my grandfather was, buried in 1922, which is they go, wow, that was a long time ago.
Grandma, wow.
And they have something that is solid, like a house, a location, and I go by a house where I have a picture with the address on it where my dad was like 10 years old, and his little sister, and it's still there, and it looks exactly exactly the same, and I stand there in that same position, and it gives me that feeling of rootedness with the past.
Mary Ellen, this next point is something Julie tells me you're so good at, celebrating each milestone in your grandchild's life.
Yes. This is what I try and do. For graduation, I attended two of the graduation because, three. There were three in one school. That was lucky. Yeah. And so I went there, and then I had another grandson that graduated from high school up in Portland, so I flew up there and attended that. And then on their birthdays, we started a tradition of when they reached 12 that we would take them out to dinner on their birthdays, just the one-on-one, and it was wonderful until they graduate from high school, and so they look forward to that. And we felt like by the time they were 12, they knew how to use a knife and a fork and a spoon.
Hopefully before then.
Julie's like, wait a second.
I'm by age 2, but by 12, hopefully they've got it.
They have restaurant managers.
So it was. That's been a great tradition for them, and now my husband's passed away. I said, "Well, do you still want to go with Grandma?" Well, sure.
Yeah. So they would pass up that chance to hang with Grandma there.
Yeah.
Linda, another last point you have is engage with each grandchild at their developmental level. What do you do there?
Oh, I love that. Well, what comes to mind recently is there's some construction going on in the valley. Every time you turn a corner, there construction, and I've got a couple of the Owen, and then the two, he's 6, and then there's some other kids that are around 2 or 3, and they love to go see the big earth movers and the construction. We'll just pull over on the road, and we'll within safe parameters look at all of the construction and things going on, and it's like they look forward. Like, oh, can we go look at the caterpillars? Can we go see the earth movers? And
you also hit the pool with your little grandkids.
That was last 4th of July. We spent a week up in Park City, and the kids want to be in the water, and it's not actually my favorite place to be.
But you do it anyway for the grandkids.
Anyway, I go, hey, I will be the dolphin, and you can ride on my back, and it's just like with the water balloons. You have to just get in there and have a good time and enjoy them. Crawl around on the floor if they're a baby.
Whatever they are, no one's going to laugh at you. Your grandparents, that's your role there.
No,
you guys have shared some great tips.
Yeah,
thanks so much. Yeah, they're great role models.
And Julie, thanks for the reminders of just the importance that grandparents can have in grandchildren's lives.
So important.
Fabulous. There are more tips on the Studio 5 website as well, so be sure to check it out after the show. Ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, still ahead. The pendant that made network TV. Meet the Ogden woman that designed the Bachelorette's necklace.
And pick up a new outfit without spending a dime. A sidewalk clothing swap you won't want to miss. We have the details next on Studio 5.